super simple. I do got to do the whole screen thing again. I don't know if you remember, but it's one visual, and then we change it to see more of a, how's it called, a mirror image. Because right now, if we have any, like, see right now you look at Breaking Bad and it's backwards, and that's kind of annoying to me. So there we go. It's a little bit more fixed, and it looks a little more casual. Like, we're actually trying to accommodate a good podcast here. It looks like air traffic control is having its daily runway through.
Yes, indeed.
Kimberly.
Hey.
Thank you again for coming.
Of course.
You've
glad to be back.
Actually been on the podcast before. One of the first guests in the second studio, because we had a studio back in the day at an old apartment, and then we moved over here. Then you were a guest on that one.
Cool.
So welcome back.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the
Thanks
studio.
for having me.
There's a couple changes if you've noticed. Just have a different setup, but we're still having fun. The same conversation, still banter, making up funny stuff. That's just having fun. So anyways, there's so much stuff to talk about. Like, oh my god, I don't even know where to begin.
It's been a year. I can't believe it's been a year.
And to think that there's so much things that have happened in this year that are just mind-blowing, like
yes.
Either technologically wise that are super cool, political, just plain out funny. I mean, there's been a lot of things.
There's a lot. Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin. Let's start with, did you ever hear about the world record egg?
No.
Okay, so I don't know what it was exactly, but there was a Super Bowl ad or a commercial beforehand. I think it was leading up to the Super Bowl, but it was a little, if you want to pull that up here in a second, just look up the world's record egg. But it was just, nobody knew what was inside of it, and it was supposed to be revealed on Hulu. Yeah, which was very strange. And I saw it, and it was only maybe like a 5-second video or whatever. But it's for awareness for being like bullied and stuff. So it was kind of cool, but the way it came out was really weird. It actually took like a month, this whole buildup of a month. I'm surprised you didn't hear about it.
No, I didn't.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did not.
Oh, see, never mind.
Yeah.
Let's stop. I already lost about 12 topics there.
Just
kidding.
It just doesn't do it for me. I just miss.
What's up? No?
Not really.
So when people ask you, like, what's your favorite?
I
Oh,
have
God.
one.
See? Here it is. Do me a favor, Angel. Plug in that HDMI cord at the bottom of you. It's right at your feet.
I'm I guess grandfathered. My dad's from Michigan.
Okay.
So I guess I'm a Lions fan, but there's nothing really to fan about them.
Oh, man.
Although I am impressed. They've got like the straight record of losses, so that's something, right?
That's something to look up.
Yeah. I mean, silver lining.
There's always still some kind of record somewhere in there. But it's funny to think about that, though. So more of a family thing then.
Yeah.
You're not like, if you go to a get-together, you're just like, yay, Michigan.
Yeah, whenever like we go to Super Bowl parties or anything, like I'm just there for the food. You'll find me by the snacks and all that fun stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people say, too, they're there for the Super Bowl commercials.
That's true, too. I did miss out this year, but I chose Kingdom Hearts again over Super Bowl.
That's awesome. We need to talk about that as well,
Yeah.
too. Even though, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not as big a fan as you are. And he is a really big fan, too, so he already makes me disappointed. I'm already disappointed that I can't even talk about it this much. So I shouldn't feel bad that you don't know a lot about what happened at the Super Bowl, so I'm sorry. I need to get back and play the game and really follow it to really just jump. I don't want to jump into.
Honestly, it is really hard to follow. So don't beat yourself up too much about
I don't want to just jump into it though either, where they're just like, oh, just jump on the hype train because everyone's playing Kingdom Hearts 3. You should play it too. I'm just like, but I don't know everything. I just don't want to just go in there. Is it worth doing it like that, or
going back and playing through everything,
or just jumping in and playing it because it's so good?
So many references to previous games that I think you'd have a hard time following the storyline if you didn't go back and play everything. So you've got a lot of playtime in front of you.
Oh, man.
Sorry about your life.
It's okay.
It's going to be wonderful.
I mean, I will enjoy it. That's the whole point of doing it, but I just have to do it.
Some things will make you want to beat your head against a brick wall, though.
Really?
I'm not going to lie. Demics. I hate. Oof.
There's some... Why do I have to be the one in the room? Anyways, let's go ahead and play the world record egg breaking thing. Let's see it. Again, it was a build up to this though. No one knew what was in the egg until this day.
Huh.
Yeah, see.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. But it was a really big buildup. A lot of people thought it was going to be something else.
Right.
And
like a gigantic chicken or
like, yeah, like something amazing. Like, is this how life started? I mean, something out of an egg. Right. You never know. But, yeah.
Instead, they took the more walking on eggshells around people approach.
I get it. I mean, social media is kind of really, I guess, out there a lot. I mean, it's out there so much. I mean, how many social medias do you run? Are you on Twitter?
I have one. I made one, I think, like 10 years ago.
But it's still active. It's still there.
It's still technically active. Okay. It's still there. I have an Instagram.
Follow that. Okay, yeah. There's the Instagram. And then you have your Facebooking.
I do have Facebook.
Your Facebooking.
It's funny. I had really horrible cell phone service for a really long time, and that was the only way I could reach people was through Facebook. So that's all I don't do a whole lot with it.
That just
I'm a scroller. That's about it.
Yeah,
if I'm bored and that's sitting at an airport.
That's most people though. Yeah. You'd be surprised is that they're just scrolling through it and see an interesting news feed with a headline and they're like, okay, that's cool, and then they go back to scrolling. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, there's been so many things on Facebook that have been, I don't know, do you look at your feed and you're just scrolling through and you're like, what, why is this even on my feed, or like, why?
Yes, but I did get hooked into buying something I saw advertised on Facebook. It's actually the shoes I'm wearing right now.
So you bought those because of the ad?
Because of what I saw. Yeah, no. I was ashamed as soon as I did it, but they're amazing. So Rothy's, guys, hey.
Shout out. You hear that on this podcast, the MuseMe podcast. You hear that? You ain't getting no shout outs on Joe Rogan. Thank you. That's actually really cool. But, I mean... That too. Okay, so you were just scrolling and you saw the ad?
I saw multiple ads, and I'm not sure how the whole algorithm works, but you could tell that, like, I clicked on it once because I was curious. I was interested because they're made out of recycled water bottles, which is super cool. So I, like, clicked on it once, and you can machine wash these. You can straight toss them in the wash.
And no damage to, like...
That's how they're designed, is to wash in cold water, and you just let them air dry.
Oh, that's nice.
Super cool.
Nice.
Super cool.
So you weren't, like, just hanging out... So, because this is what I've heard, too. This is so funny that they say this, too, because they say it's true. That, like, we can be talking about something right now, like, we're casually mentioning shoes, and that our microphones are listening to us right now. And while we're scrolling on Facebook, those ads will appear because of they heard us speaking about it. Was there any... I don't know if you really paid attention of when you were talking.
I have, because there was a... Oh, gosh. I'm trying to remember what it was, and it freaked me out because we were talking offhandedly about... Oh, shoot. And then I started seeing ads for it all over the place.
That's what I'm saying about these shoes. You're probably like, I bet you there should be some shoes that's environmentally safe.
Right.
And wearable. And then all of a sudden you're just scrolling and you're like, there is.
I did go on a rant because shoes...
Like, before you got these.
Before I got these, I was going on a rant with someone because, like, okay, you guys don't wear flats, but for the flat people wearing...
The flat community
out there, they're awful because they, like, whatever they're made out of, they don't breathe, they're not always comfortable, and they, like, wear out really, really quickly just because they're very poorly made.
Okay.
And I was like, there's got to be something that's durable that you can, like, wash and, take care of to a certain extent that can last you for a couple years. I ran into someone that I saw wearing Rothy's after... Like, I had seen a couple ads and was, like, clicking on things. It was after I had this conversation. She's like, yeah, these are fantastic because you can throw them in the wash. There you go. I've had these for 3 years. She's had the same pair of shoes for 3 years.
And they look nice.
And they look brand new.
Not like other shoes where they deteriorate and break
or,
apart.
Like, fade and all that kind of fun stuff. Like, the glue's not coming apart. They looked brand... it blew my mind. So, yeah. I do remember that I was ranting to coworkers about that, and then these started showing up, so that was trippy.
I mean, is that convenient? Do you think it's more? Is that pretty convenient for us now, or is that actually kind of invasion of privacy where they're trying to sell us stuff now? Like, literally, we could just be speaking like about anything, and they're trying to sell us it. I mean, that's kind of...
They really are. I find it more annoying than anything, but to a certain extent, it's also kind of convenient because if you're not aware of a product's existence and you are mentioning about how it'd make your life more convenient, if they pick that up and they're like, hey, well, you should check this out because you needed something to do with
lighting.
Yeah, lighting.
Swiss Army knife that has something that's never been added. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, kind of...
I feel like the intent I don't know. I'm getting not necessarily emotional there, but putting too much emotion on it. I feel like the intent is good,
Okay.
but it's still a money grab, and it drives me nuts.
Okay.
Like, I don't enjoy being upsold.
Yeah, because I could see too is like there's probably millions of products, but they're probably just promoting the more valuable, famous ones of that desire, whatever.
Yeah.
Talking about shoes, they're only going to show you those shoes. Where there could have been a smaller company that does the same
Like
thing.
a local one.
Yeah, that kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, things like that. Like now that you can order your groceries online.
That's
and all
so
that fun
scary.
Stuff. Yeah, super trippy. And I'm also really frustrated by it because it's so lazy. Like, it's not that hard to go walk through a dang store. And I would much prefer to shop at Albertsons. It's a local business than Walmart, even though it's convenient because you can order it online and pick it up.
So they don't offer that service for Albertsons or Smiths yet?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure that they're going to have to keep up with the times and do it eventually, but I feel like that's a hard platform to like just develop when it's a small business.
Yeah, I could see that. Because, I mean, that's the thing, too, is like when you go to shopping, you like to see your produce, get to pick from it.
Yes.
And at this point, you're just pretty much having it in the hands of someone else.
Yes.
Where it could be like, oh, I got you a dented can. Like, oh, I hate dented cans, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But there's, I mean, I don't know. How is that? Is that more efficient for people? Because people obviously want to spend time doing other things instead of shopping. I mean,
right.
in your case, you don't mind taking that extra few seconds to go do the little shopping thing. But in those extra few seconds, do you think there's some other task you could be doing that might be improving your life?
Which comes into time management. What are you really doing with your time that you don't have much of it?
That's true. I mean, if you're really good at time management, and this is one example, you're time managing very well, and then all of a sudden this feature comes up, there goes your time in half now. Now you have even more time to come up with something.
True, but most of that, as we were just talking about, turns into Facebook scrolling. How much are you really achieving when you could have been getting exercise and just go freaking shopping by yourself?
Yeah, that's true. I guess we're kind of like,
it's a hard.
I'm kind of, I guess, stereotyping where it's somebody that's really, I guess, more motivated and somebody that's more interactive and active instead of someone who's just like, oh, since I can get my groceries taken care of, I can just sit around and scroll on Facebook for a while. So, but I guess there's those two kinds of people out there, though. So, is it beneficial or not?
It's tricky. That's why I feel like the intention behind all that is really good, but like in practical application, it just opens the doorway to more inefficiency and laziness, I think, in your day-to-day life.
Okay, so here's another instance too. At Walmart, they're recently getting actually robots to do
what?
So, you know, instead of actually having to like move your cart of so the truck comes in, they have all this produce and all this like equipment and stuff like that. The workers would only have to load it onto the robot, and the robot takes the rest of it into the warehouse and kind of like lines up where you needs to be put, and then the workers just do it instead of having to do it all manually, you know.
Got it.
How do you feel about this? Because they're doing that to accommodate to the workers, but some of the workers, okay, so they had.
Then what do?
They used to have 5 days to call off, if I'm remembering correctly, but now they have to cut it down because I'm not assuming it's connected, but I feel like it is. It's because like your productivity of work is cut down of what you're doing, so let's cut down the vacation or the time off you have.
Oh, that's rough. You'd think it'd be the opposite. Like if it's that much more efficient with these robots and stuff like that, you know, workers' time can be dedicated elsewhere, like customer service, that type of thing. I don't think there should be a correlation there. That seems weird.
But they are getting a raise. How does that? Yeah, see, that's...
What?
Yeah.
That's confusing.
I only know this because I have inside sources from Walmart myself,
right.
So I'm not just like...
It's like, how do you know all this?
I'm creepy, and I'm over here trying to take Walmart down from the inside. Trying to take them down from the inside. But, so that's what I don't get, is like...
I don't know.
Because I don't want to say they're introducing it to Walmarts, but there are certain Walmarts in the area that are... they're like the test subjects of this. In this area. So that's what's weird, is like,
that is weird,
how they're accommodating to it and what they're doing for it. It's like, okay, let's get robots to help, but workers get a raise, but they can't call in as much anymore.
Then it's not really a raise, is it? That's tricky. That's super tricky. I don't know if I like that. I wonder if it's going to cut down on, well, I don't think it would have a relation either.
unless they get more interactive robots. But I mean, right now they still have to interact with the robots to get some job done.
Interesting.
Their job is less done. You know, it's less straining. It's not as hard working.
I was going to say it probably saves them a lot in like workers' comp and things like that because there's less injuries if these robots are doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I dropped it on my toe.
Right.
Like, bro, a robot did it.
Right.
So I can see that. I do see that.
Which maybe that's why if you cut down less on injury, well, not. That's interesting.
So that was a topic that came up
trippy.
that I was just thinking that kind of leads into the whole AI thing. So we'll start talking about AI now.
I'm into AI though. If I could automate my entire life, I think I would do it. But I feel like there's got to be a limitation because I'm really worried about actual interaction with human beings just flying out the window. I was talking about this recently. Like, it's a good thing I married when I did because I don't think I'd survive in the dating world today.
Okay, why?
Like, you have to do it through you can't just, apparently, you can't just walk up to somebody anymore and ask them out on a date.
That's creepy, right? Yeah.
And I'm like, what? That's how it works. Like,
that's kind of true. That's weird that's like that now, though.
Yeah, it's like it's considered creepy or overbearing or too intense. And you just meet all these superficial people through an app. What can you really learn when you can't put emotion into text?
Yeah.
Like, you can't put tonal inflection, you can't see their facial reactions, if you're hitting it off or not.
Yeah.
And then you waste all this time. And it's unfortunate because I feel like I've noticed it a lot with my male friends. They'll set up a date on Tinder, Bumble, whatever it is.
Grindr.
Yeah.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
And
And then get ghosted when they try and set up an actual date because it's like the girls think it's getting too real at that point because you've got so many options instead of just going out and actually forcing yourself to talk to people. Like, what is going on?
I don't know. Is it that people are just like losing the ability for human interaction face to face? They need some kind of like, I guess, jumping off point.
Yeah.
Because again,
it could be the instant gratification of all the attention that you're getting too. I feel like
that's kind of shitty if that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because literally, you have to be really popular on a social media site for other people just to talk to you.
Right.
No, that's Black Mirror.
Right?
You've seen it, right?
I have.
Yeah,
yes.
You know the rating system. Mm-hmm. Spoilers, blah blah. But you know the one where it's like rating, where she's like, oh, she's talking to somebody and she has to give them a rating right after they're done talking. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like that. It's like if I start interacting with somebody and I see that they're like, oh, obviously you only have 300 friends. You don't seem like that important.
And that happens all the time now, and it blows my mind. I don't know. I guess I'm not into social media for that aspect of it, but I'm way for like technology advancement.
Well, there are some aspects of social media that are pretty cool. Like there are friends that I have that I met through a Facebook group that are all the way in New Zealand and Australia. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I'll never be able to meet them, but like, and maybe they aren't the person that they say they are, but they've been nice and they've been interactive and really, really cool to talk to you. So that's cool to think about, that there are those potentials of connections around the world. This stream right now, hopefully it's reaching somebody in New Zealand or somebody in Japan where he's just like looking at his PlayStation, scrolling up and sees this and he's like, I got to stop on this for a second. Right. I see a bunch of anime pictures in the back.
Right.
And then we just start talking like we are, and he just like doesn't even want to listen but looks at it. It's so many possibilities of the social media how it is now.
Yeah, but this is still, I feel, a very real interaction. It's not as, I don't want to say,
I don't know, how real is it over there, bro?
It's not quite as like strained or forced, or there's no I don't know, it's more comfortable.
Okay.
This way. Like it's a cozy room, that kind of thing. But I don't know, you get to pick up on social cues. You get to just let the conversation go wherever instead of feeling like you have to write a paragraph to somebody in order to keep them interested. And you have to wait for them to respond to you in like 2 seconds.
But that's only us,
you don't feel
that's only
very important.
What we're having.
True.
Because there are, assuming, other people interacting right now, but they're doing it in the aspect of what you were saying, where it's just like they only have that whole, I only get to see them on a screen. I'm only kind of listening to what they're saying. I don't get to really interact with them in a way where I'm just like, I'm sold.
Right.
So that in that aspect, I think it's cool because we're interacting with all these people and hopefully they like what we're selling, what I'm selling anyways. And it's just like, I don't know. Can I be in front of the camera and just have these facial expressions so that they know how I feel about it or stuff? Or will they get it as an act now because of how developed YouTube acting and life has become, because it's so weird how it could be now.
Yeah,
like, literally.
and it's always evolving, which is really cool. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and I can't keep up with the times anymore.
Yeah, I don't. That's
I
yeah.
know that's not it.
We
but...
can't say that. We can't say that. I can't say that. Jesus, I'm not old. No.
Back to the egg thing. Fact that I'm not necessarily the most proud of, but did you know that I was a bully in a past life?
An egg bully?
No, not an egg bully.
Okay.
Just a like.
I was about to say fucking
mill.
eggs,
It
dude.
was one
I'm
of those
sorry.
like super cliche where I was bullied at for a certain period of time, and then I felt the only natural response was to bully other people, and I had a really good interaction with the kid that I used to bully. I felt so bad about it after becoming an adult and looking back on things. I reached out to him and was able actually to like face-to-face apologize to him.
How many times later? Like, how long was that? Obviously, you were a bully when you were like 2, right? You're like, I don't want my stuff.
No, it was high school. It was high school.
What?
It was in high school.
Oh my god.
It was really. It was.
She was the mean one.
No, and it was just to this one kid. It was one kid.
Okay.
Yeah, and I regretted it, and anyways, so it was about 7 years later that I reached out to him, because we were in band together. And so I knew of him, and I was connected with him on Facebook and stuff like that too. So I just happened to catch that he was moving to California. And for whatever reason, just knowing that distance was going to happen, I knew that I had to do something before he left. I was like, I have to, because I've always thought it, but it's not real until you like put action behind it. So I've always felt apologetic. So I before he left, I was like, I know that this is probably not, what you want to hear, but if you want to take some time, I'd love to buy you a meal, buy you a cup of coffee, not necessarily make excuses for myself, but tell you where I was coming from and full-heartedly apologize for what I put you through. And it was a wild experience.
So now you could probably just message and talk right now with no ease, just like, hey, how's it going? Hopefully you're doing good, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I've had that little similar experience, and then now if I wanted to, I can ask him to cut my hair now because he's a hairstylist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing, where in high school we kind of I don't want to say I was a bully to him, but we both kind of had this whole not liking each other.
Yeah.
Because of whatever feud, I don't know, I'm just gonna throw this out there. He was an actual hardcore gothic kid, and I was a wannabe gothic kid. So I could see why he didn't like me. But at that time, I'm the wannabe gothic kid. I'm just like, what are you trying to prove? I'm just I'm cool too. But getting older, it's just why did we even fight about that thing?
Right. Why did that matter?
We had cool clothes. We both liked each other, the music we listened to, and I was always like, God damn it, I hate his clothes, But,
right.
But it was cool because I liked him. But I was trying to not seem like an asshole. But that's how I guess a learning experience happens, though.
Yes.
So either it's in a negative way where you find out that I was a douchebag, and hopefully I feel better about it later, or you just find out that maybe that kid was pretty bad to me, but I mean he probably had some pretty shitty things going on in his life too. I can't be like, oh, he has the perfect life and stuff.
Right.
That was always a thing in my thing too. It's I can't really judge people because I don't know how bad their life is.
Right.
And that's true about everything.
Yeah, it was really interesting with him too. After when I wrote to him initially, just seeing if you'd even meet with me face to face, I was fully expecting to just get shut down, and I would have deserved it too, honestly, for what I had done. But the fact that he was so open to actually sitting down and having a conversation with me, it blew my mind. I didn't deserve that, and I wasn't expecting forgiveness, but I got it anyways, and it was cool. It was a cool thing. So, if you ever feel like you need to reach out to people, just do it.
Yeah, play that egg thing again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just that, I don't know, it's pretty simple, just as simple as that. Literally any feud you guys have out there and you're thinking about,
just air it out.
Yeah, just be like, no, it's not that big of a deal. It happens. It is what it is. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk more about AI. So have you ever heard of, he's actually last time I saw on Joe Rogan's podcast, he was talking about a thing called Neuralink. I don't know if you ever heard about this, but it was supposed to be us being able to connect our bandwidth of our brain to our phone, which would be instantaneously being able to recall stuff on Google, like, just like, hey, I Googled this, instead of having to sit there and type it and wait for it to load and scroll up, it would pretty much pop up in your head.
You know, it would be really cool about that is if you were able to unlock or access memories that you can't, like, actually, I mean, they're there, but you can't recall. That would be so crazy. I would love that. There's a game actually called Remember Me. Have you ever played it?
I don't think so.
No,
No?
it's
Maybe? No.
it's got a pretty similar concept where they've got this like installation in their like neck, and it's a biochip or whatever, but you can record like live what you're seeing and what you're experiencing, and you can actually share it with people. So that was like that's how they got married or how they did whatever, cultivated relationships, and you could play back through these memories, and it was like a hologram standing in front of you. So it was like useful for people that passed away. You could still interact with them, that type of stuff. You could relive your, when your parents first met, like that kind of stuff, just based on like passed down through DNA.
Wow.
Which is cool too.
That's always weird to think about too, is like a lot of our history and stuff is kind of imprinted in our DNA with that whole, have you ever done the whole 23andMe yet?
I haven't. I really want to.
What would you find out?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah, play the trailer. Let's check out the trailer right away.
Yeah, this was cool. I loved the concept of this game.
Nice.
It was a little rough, but the concept was cool.
Let's share our memories. Thanks to my sensor.
Safe and secure.
I felt everything. Your release from fear is at hand.
Memorize. Trust us. We won't forget you.
Scandal at La Bastille. The administration has admitted the escape of the notorious criminal Nilin.
Nilin, can you hear me? Are you okay?
Who are you?
My name is Edge. This is Neo Paris.
Why did our enemies erase my memory?
You were a revolutionary fighter. A memory hunter, Nilin. The best.
I gave you more than I ever took from you.
Alex! We can still win this war, Nilin. This time, we're going to defeat Memorize.
Kneel to me. Adore me.
The terrorist movement is counting on you. Free your memories.
Now I see the true extent of this consensual dictatorship. This is for everything you did to me! Nothing will stop me from accomplishing this.
It was a sweet game because memories turned into currency, and you could like replay the memories and actually modify them. That's at least what the main character was able to do.
Okay.
So you could change how someone remembered a certain event. That doesn't mean everybody that was actually present there forgot everything, but that person and their memory of what happened, you could change. It was wild. It was really cool, but
Nice.
it was kind of along those lines. It was
When did you play it?
oh gosh, that came out a long time ago. It was at least 4 or 5 years ago. It was a long time ago, but super cool.
Have to check it out.
Yeah.
Might find it on the PlayStation Store or something. What'd you play it on?
Yeah, PlayStation.
Interesting. Speaking of memories, do you know, I don't know, how do your memories be triggered sometimes? I mean, do you remember certain things by like just remembering them, or is it some ways where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm looking at this old picture and it helps me remember the day that happened, maybe?
Scent usually does it for me. The way something smells will trigger memories.
Okay, so like food maybe?
Yeah, different types of food. Like one that stuck out to me the most is the scent of leather will always remind me of my mom. When I was younger, I used to just go with her on errands, and back in the day, she would be writing checks for everything, and she had a leather checkbook.
Do you mean she didn't have it delivered to her?
No. And my however tall I was, the counter, all I could ever smell was her checkbook, and it just reminded me of being with my mom. So anytime I smell that now, I think of her.
Oh,
it's weird.
that's like actually pretty cool. Because you have this recollection of her in a weird way. I mean,
Yeah.
leather smell.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Mom.
that's actually really cool. I like that. But yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of people that are talking that like the way that memories are formed or the way that we remember things will never be the exact way that we remember them.
Right.
We just kind of like wish-washed over it. It's like if we kept pushing rewind and record over something, and it's just like, I think it was kind of like that. I mean, it was pretty much like that, but I mean, we don't really truly remember.
Right.
I don't know if that's a thing
And
or
it's
not.
a lot to do with your brain too, just kind of sorting through so much and processing so much information that's presented, you know, and the way it records. Like you can always see your nose. Your mind just kind of blurs it for you
Yeah,
because it's
I see what you're
unnecessary
saying.
data.
I don't want to start looking at it now, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so you may miss some certain aspects because your brain decided that that wasn't important enough to like record, you know? It just kind of blurred the information for you.
Yeah, memory's weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
What's your earliest memory?
My earliest memory?
Earliest memory.
That's a good one. I don't know actually. As far as I remember living in Los Lunas, more preferably the little place called El Cerro. I don't know if you know of those places, but like you go into Los Lunas and there's little bisections of towns, you know, like Meadow Lake, Valencia County, Peralta,
Right.
all that stuff. There is a little one out kind of towards the desert area called El Cerro Mission. Yeah, I kind of remember that place a little bit when I was younger, but just like vague little things.
How
you know?
old were you about then?
Probably like, what, 4 or 5,
Oh, okay.
if I remember correctly.
Got it.
But again, see, if I
Right.
remember correctly,
Right.
that's not, I don't know. I can't say that I know exactly the memory. I could barely remember stuff from last week. So, and
Right.
if it's in an actual event, like, you know, like, oh, don't you remember that sequence that you did? I'm just like, fuck, maybe, kind of.
Well, what do you think it takes for an event or situation to actually leave a lasting impression? Like, what is it about certain moments that you can remember forever versus with day-to-day stuff that just gets washed out?
That's a good question. Like, I honestly feel I remember things more when I'm playing guitar, so that I have some kind of like, I don't want to say like memory recollection, but like I just have like these senses of like my fingers doing something and me watching something, so I remember it. And even though I don't play guitar at that time, I rewatch it, or like I could be referencing something because I'm always referencing so much bullshit. It's just like, how did I remember that?
Right.
Well, when I remember always practicing guitar and watching shit, like,
Yeah.
in a miscellaneous kind of way, like sitting there and watching South Park and just being like dun 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 over and over and over again.
Right.
And I felt like that is a great way for me, how I remembered even pretty low-ended kind of things. Like I remember the first time we got internet at my house. It was like, it wasn't even that big of a deal, but you know,
Right.
like I got a cool little computer, and then I started looking up tabs for my guitar, and it's just like, that was fun. But I
Right.
remember that because of like the guitar aspect of it. I don't remember how I convinced my mom to get the internet. I mean, I can't remember exactly.
Like I did when I was trying to get a dog and I put together a PowerPoint presentation.
You did?
I did.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh. When we moved into our family home in Albuquerque finally from Oklahoma, we wanted a dog. Me and my sister wanted a dog so bad. And they said, well, give us a reason. Like, what would you do? How would you take care of it? So we researched breeds. I'm a little over, organized and things like that.
Okay.
You could tell when I was a kid too, because I researched breeds, how long they typically live, what you should feed it, how much exercise it needs, how much time I have after school to do it, and why we should get a stinking dog. And they said, as soon as we get grass in the backyard, fully knowing that they were going to zero-scape it, tricksters.
Okay.
Then we'll get a dog because the dog needs grass in the backyard. I was like, okay. Years went by, and then they looked into sod, and they started sodding a patch, and I was like, okay, well, when we getting a dog? And they were so upset, but it was so funny.
But at least, yeah, the remembering of that too, because I mean, you've wanted that for a while, right?
Right.
You're like, I
And
want
was
the
like,
dog.
all right, I'll be patient. I'll wait for grass, and then it finally happened.
That's pretty funny. I could see that as like, oh, she'll forget. Oh,
Right.
Just leave it. She'll forget.
Yep, that's
And
what
then-
they thought.
Well,
Joke's on them.
how old was that?
When we moved here, it's 2001, so I was in first grade. I have no idea. How old are you in first grade?
I don't.
I
Aren't you
know.
like
Like
7?
Yeah, 6 or 7.
6 or
somewhere
7.
around
Yeah.
there.
Dang. So I think we talked about this last time, but then do you kind of remember 9/11 then?
I do.
Because it was at that time.
I do remember where I was.
You're like 7 years old.
Yeah. I was in school actually. It was at
7.
I was at Weary Elementary. I remember being in Miss Kelly Gunn's class, and all of a sudden she like stepped outside because she got a call from the office. Came back in because at the time Weary Elementary was on base. So all of a sudden like the base went in full shutdown, and it was like it was crazy. Like our parents couldn't come pick us up like because everything was locked down. And she just walked in the room, didn't say a word, just turned on the TV and sat at her desk and cried. And we just sat there watching it, but I didn't know what that meant. Like it didn't really register with me, like the gravity of what actually happened. But
weird.
I do remember that day.
That's crazy. So that was one of those memories that just...
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
See, but I'm going with the whole, are you sure you remembered it correctly? Because, I mean, yeah, that day is crazy. That's one of those memory days. Mm-hmm. I don't really remember exactly, but I do remember going to class. And then my parents, the state fair was happening here in New Mexico. So they actually shut it down for that day. So they're like, we're going to shut down state fair because we might get a terrorist attack at the state fair. You know, shit was everyone was hyped, you know, scared. Things were getting real. I mean... I remember my teacher was crying because she felt that her son was going to war.
Yeah.
Like that fast is like crazy to think about too. Because at that time I was 11 and I didn't know really a lot. I was more of a jokester kind of thing. And I'm just like, well, I mean.
Yeah, we talked about it in school one time when I was older, when I was in high school. And I had asked a teacher who'd been at the same school for years. And she's like, yeah, after 9/11, all of a sudden, like I was walking through the hallways with a bunch of military men because a whole bunch of kids that were 18 or 17 just enlisted like next day and were ready to go. Like a lot of them dropped out of high school and just like left.
Dang.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's weird to think about too, is because like then the whole aspect of, was it a conspiracy? That's crazy too.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a rabbit hole of things that you can get into if you start looking into that.
Well, in general, yeah, there's like too many left turns.
Yeah.
Too many. I mean, we could, like we're talking about now, the whole we were talking about a while ago with the whole the microphones inside of in there. I mean,
so we'll see. This is one of those things we talk about. I wonder if any conspiracy videos are going to start popping up.
They should. I'm always watching them.
Right.
So it should.
I don't. I'll keep you posted.
It's a normal thing. They'll be like, hey, now we're talking about this. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. AI, computers, I love it, but then I'm scared of it at the same time.
Why are you scared of it?
Because I always think of the stupid Terminator scenario. Like it's gonna be that
would be
bad.
Horrifying.
Oh man, because have you ever heard of Sophie? She's like this AI robot.
Yes.
That's kind of cool. I mean, that intrigues me, knowing that she can recognize my facial features. Maybe she knows if I'm sad, but would she know if I got angry at her? Would she know that? And how would she react to that?
Right.
That's a little trippy.
Like seeing her facial expressions when they try and... Oh, man, that's weird.
See? And the same thing with cars, too. Like, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but, you know, the self-driving cars now, I mean, that's amazing.
I would do that. Put me in a car.
Just go for it.
Let's go.
And, and a lot of people would, because it's so... Not only is it easy, but it's energy efficient.
Well, that, and I also feel like people get freaked out about it because it's a lack of control in your life now. Like you're voluntarily giving up the reins to something that could kill you. I guess that's the trippy part.
That's true.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that moves forward. That, flying cars, there's flying motorcycles already.
We will not have flying cars.
You don't think?
No. I saw Elon Musk, the way he explained it, and so did Neil Tyson, that there would be no way. Like a flying car would pretty much be a helicopter.
They said that about airplanes.
It would be a helicopter.
I mean, they said airplanes wouldn't exist.
We need to go underground. Tunnel systems, that's what he says.
That would be cool.
A bunch of tunnel systems. Because supposedly the whole science behind it is that right now the only way we travel is in a dimensional system. We only go from left to right. We can't really go up or down or like anything like that. But when we start going into levels, we actually go into other dimensions of what we can start driving under. So, you know, people are driving in the second dimension. We have another one down here. They're also driving there. Another level down there is also driving. Yeah. Which is the same concept in the sky too, but it's just harder to do it in the sky because obviously we have to have the technology to fly up there and have that going on. Which is awesome because we've seen nothing but...
there's going to be way less obstacles underground than there will be.
You think so?
Well, now I don't. I don't know.
Well, I guess you're right. You're right. Like, all you have to do is just drill the hole.
You don't have, like, city buildings or birds or actual airplanes or anything to worry about.
Worms, moles, little lizards. I'm just kidding.
Point.
Yeah, I mean... But, I mean, that's where we accommodate and try to work around nature and humans. Yeah. Do you feel like that's the way life should be? Or did we kind of fuck up and we shouldn't even be here at all?
Not that... Okay, I don't think we've gone so far that nothing can be fixed.
Okay.
There's going to be a solution.
There is a way.
It's just actively doing it.
So there's like no, like, say we're on a roller coaster, there's no like, oh, we're already too far gone.
Point of no return type thing. They come back up. Roller coasters come back up.
Some derail.
Some do derail. You were right. You're right. Oh. And then people, well, you know, fair point. I don't know.
It's weird. It's an interesting concept to think about, too, because there is...
Well, do you think we've hit that point?
No.
Okay.
But we are getting to that point.
We are.
Yes. Because, all right, I'm throwing other things that just are taking other things into competition, but our politics now, I mean... The wall is totally dividing us.
It is.
Into a way where we're being divided inside of a country. We're not even dividing countries now. Like, the whole concept of the wall for Trump is probably to divide the countries, divide Mexico and fucking the United States. But he's dividing us inside of our country, which is kind of struggling for me because, I mean, I don't want to be labeled a leftist.
Right.
I don't want to be labeled a right. I think both of them have good ideas.
I agree.
There's
got to be some middle ground.
But you can't anymore.
And it's so it is incredibly divisive.
If you're a middle ground, you have to have kind of some label like I'm a leftist middle-ish.
Yeah, or it's you're middle ground. Well, you don't really think for yourself or you haven't researched.
There you go.
Like, okay.
Or I'm a rightist with a leftist point. Like, where are all these coming from?
What?
So I don't get where that comes from either because the dividing point within us just doesn't allow us. That's, again, we're destroying ourselves. Yeah. The planet is just like, get out of here.
Right. Yeah.
But we're not at the point of no return, though.
I don't think so.
Not yet.
No.
But you think we can go all the way back?
I think we could. I mean, look at this, like, 14-year-old that was able to clean up tons and tons of trash out of the ocean. You telling me if, like, a company got on board with that we couldn't fix our problem with all the plastic in the ocean?
That's true. That's true.
We could. And they're already trying to pass laws to prevent more plastic waste. Like, you're going to get charged for grocery bags now. I think it's like a 25-cent tax.
What? What?
If you don't use a reusable bag. It hasn't passed yet.
But okay, so what is it? What is a reusable bag?
Like cloth bag of some sort. So you could take a gym bag to the store. I don't know.
So if I...
You just need something to carry...
So reusing plastic bags is not recyclable.
Right? That's the other thing too. But you just, I guess, have to bring the bag instead of asking for more. It's when you take them from the store itself that you'll get taxed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll try to work with that then. I'll be an asshole and just be like, I brought plastic bags.
Right. But I mean, they're getting reused. So
yeah, see? Yeah. I mean, I don't know what... I'm kind of being an asshole at that point. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. That's...
Right, because I inevitably, like, I have one, all the good intent. Do I ever remember to bring it when I'm going to the store? No.
I think you get one. Obviously, anybody just gets one. They're just like, here's a bag for like...
Yeah, I've got like 6, and I never remember to take them with me, so I'm going to have to be better about that.
But what, is that really a bad thing, though?
Yeah.
How bad are you at, like, wasting plastic? I mean...
I've never really measured.
And
I try to be pretty good about it, but
so you're a good recycler.
Yes,
you're really...
Well, I do recycle, but I'm a little jaded about recycling.
What is recycling though?
My shoes.
See, there you go. Like,
But
you would.
it's so expensive to recycle plastic, and I guess there's only certain grades or types of plastic that can actually be recycled.
This is why I
which
would not be able to recycle.
Blows my mind.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's hard. Honestly, I'm not good at differentiating. I'll put everything plastic in the thing and then hope that someone knows what they're doing.
And what's
can
the
sort
difference
through it
between
later.
so you can obviously do a cardboard box, but there are some cardboard boxes that can be done, right? With like, oh, it's been dipped in like grease with pizza in it. Obviously,
Right.
this can't be recycled. Like, how does
Like,
this
where's
work?
that line? How
I
do you
don't.
figure that? Like, yeah, it's gonna be hard, but it can be done.
It could be done.
It could be done.
Okay. The
Yeah.
robots.
The robots.
See, they know
And-
the difference.
And the water bottle orb things. Have you guys seen those? There's
Isn't
there's-
it turned into a plant or something?
no, it doesn't turn into a plant, but they've developed a membrane that can like hold water. That's actually ingestible. You can eat it, so it negates the use for a bottle at all, like a plastic
So it's
bottle.
kind of
It looks like a pearl. Like,
Look
do you
this
remember
up.
A Bug's Life?
yeah, like they're
When
little
they did-
droplets.
yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Pretty cool.
That's kind of weird.
It is.
But then like
so
one
what do you like?
sanitation
oh no,
and stuff.
I dropped
Yeah.
my water droplet.
Or like, hey, you want some of my water?
Right.
Can I hold it? No, just take it out of my hand.
Yeah.
That's so cool, though. I can.
Technology's being developed. I'm looking for figuring out a way to get rid of gasoline in cars.
I'm trying not to get older. Fuck the cars.
I'm just trying not to get old. Well, sorry.
I don't want it. Why don't you work on that technology?
Sorry.
No, there are a lot of health.
Hey, guess what? You're a little bit older.
There are a lot of helpful and healthy things nature-wise to do to not get older, but I mean, who would want not to be older? This water orb is an edible water bottle. We just seen an Asian man eat it. See, you have to hold gloves just to hold it. Take the plastic out of the equation. Skip Rocks Labs created this from brown algae. It's 100% biodegradable and totally edible. I would not be taking pictures like that. Just peel the skin and pop it in your mouth. It could be flavored or colored. At marathons, they've tested it at marathons. Say goodbye to plastic, people, and hello to this.
Super cool concept, right?
I like it. It looks
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I mean, it's easy to like.
I just feel bad for people that work out a lot because they have to drink like 64 ounces of little. I'd be a lot.
Well, don't you think that'd just give you a big one? Or no, you have to take it, ingest
Right?
it once,
How
right?
are you gonna like? Yeah,
That's
I mean,
kind
it's
of
gotta be,
stupid. I don't like that.
Yeah,
You should
it's-
be able to get like size like.
practicality.
Can I have a big gulp size one?
Right, and then what are you gonna do? Just like stick that?
So see, yeah, then they get rid of like the
It's
whole
too bad there's not like a like a bottle or something you could put it into.
right with a straw with a straw. What are they thinking nowadays? That's crazy though. I like the concept because the cool colors too. I mean, that'd be awesome just to be able to just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pop a green one. It tastes like green apple.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. But
How do you like distribute those at parties? Been like, I have a bowl. Here you go, guys.
water fight.
Here you guys go.
Hey, toss me one. Oops.
Are you guys thirsty? I wonder if they'll put other things in them. Like, what if they start putting like,
Vodka.
oh,
Or-
geez, I was going with cranberry juice or like orange juice, but vodka works too. They wouldn't be as big, obviously.
Well, they could be.
Wow, that's like crazy.
Yeah, that's death. That's what that is.
Well, I mean, how much was that? Like,
I don't know.
it had to have been like what, 8 ounces, maybe. I mean,
8 ounce.
8-ounce cup is like this big. I'm measuring with my brain, but I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea. How much it
But
was.
that, I like it.
Yeah.
I didn't know about. I kind of saw that, but I didn't really know it was a thing.
Yeah.
How long
That was advertised a couple years ago.
Why isn't it out in the market right now?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't as practical as they had hoped. And depending, like it could be, since it's a like natural algae that they're using, it could be incredibly expensive to turn into this membrane that they use, you know?
In like this much of a quantity. They're like, we can make it enough for a small town, but not for the world.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. That's
I don't know.
us humans. we do create some amazing things.
We do.
I mean, don't
Some
get me.
useless, but some.
What is an example of a useless product? And don't say fleshlights because people need those.
People need those. Oh man.
Of an unuseful product that's been invented.
Product. Oh,
I mean,
I made that joke and now I got nothing to back it up.
you can throw in a lot of those as seen on TV kind of things.
Yeah. Although the apple slicer does work incredibly well.
Apple slice. I'm not sponsored, guys. She is just
I'm
speaking
sorry,
her
I'm
on
just
her own.
Have you seen those things? But they're. I mean.
Is it like a table thing or is it?
It's not a table thing. It's just like it's got a handle on it and it looks. I don't know.
It's like a colander, right? But it just has like.
It's got like a hole and then different spokes so that it like slices everything, and you just like push down.
And you can just like do a
and
couple
it
times,
pours
right?
It for you.
You could be like, and it cuts in different angles, maybe. No.
No, it's just like a one press.
Just
kind
one
of
press
thing.
kind
Just
of thing.
One, like all the way through the apple, and you get slices, and then
Just apples.
throughout the core.
What else can you cut with it? Can you cut a tomato
I feel
with
like
it?
It's not super versatile.
So
I'm sure that you could do a tomato.
Is it
It's just
sharp?
like-
How sharp
it's
are the
not.
blades?
No, it's
Oh,
not
okay.
sharp. So you just squish it. You'd have crushed tomato, but I mean, depending. You're making some salsa.
There you
go.
go. Right. I like that concept. If you guys aren't using it for that, use it for salsa. Use it as a what is that called?
Oh, I'm not gonna say it now because it's gonna sound sponsored.
It's out there, guys. Look it up. Check it out. It's out there. Oh man. I don't know. What else? Did you watch the Infinity Wars?
I did.
Did you like it?
Has the other one come out yet?
No,
it hasn't yet. Right?
it's in April.
Okay.
in
I was like,
April,
oh god,
yeah.
have I missed it? Yeah, but yes, I did see the first one.
Did you? Are you
It was
excited for it?
intense. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Did you see the trailer for Spider-Man Away from Home?
No.
Play the trailer. Play the
Play it.
trailer. Yeah, they're the new Spider-Man, second Spider-Man movie from Marvel called Far Away from Home. Released a trailer, I think a month ago.
Oh, okay.
But people were speculating because the way that it looks like everyone's safe already. So it feels like
it
it's
happens after.
that's what they think.
Oh.
That's what it looks like.
So it kind of ruins.
Yeah, so
But
like because right now Spider-Man turned into dust, right? But it looks like in this movie that it's after everything.
Oh, well.
But I don't think so because if you remember in Infinity Wars, when Spider-Man made his scene, because you know how they always do those stupid videos where it's like, oh, make sure to watch this video
Yeah.
because I'm going over a lot of details.
Yeah.
But they were coming back from a trip on the bus, and then they're like, he looks out the window and sees that spaceship or whatever, and then that's when he asks Ned to like cause a distraction or whatever. I think they were coming back from this. So I think it's in
Interesting.
between the Infinity Wars. So this movie is supposed to be before the Infinity Wars actually happened.
That's a wacky timeline though.
No, why?
That seems a little. I don't know. Play it. We'll go from there.
Thanks for watching, guys. You guys are awesome. Shout outs. Let me know if you want a shout out.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
That was so good.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Happy. You look nice.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. New dress?
Yes, it is. How'd you know?
Pause it right away. Pause it.
God, that
Pause
hurts.
it right away.
That hurts me.
Why is it now that she's this attractive young lady?
Right.
I mean, I'm not getting mad about it. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people that are just like, it's not fitting with the timeline correctly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm not super
I
versed.
do feel like the definition of old is changing.
See, people want to be young when they get older.
They do. I mean, that's always been a trope.
So I
Good
can see
luck
that.
still.
Yeah. So what? She's
Hey,
supposed.
guess what? You're still a little bit.
The fact that time passes that slow, I'm okay with. Go ahead. Play this. Play this bad boy. Sony, this goes out to you.
Planning a trip?
Going to Europe.
cool trip.
Did you get your passport?
Peter Parker here to pick up a passport, please.
Mini toothpaste? Pack your suit.
I just want to go on my trip with my friends. Europe doesn't really need a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You look really pretty.
Therefore, I have value.
No, that's not
I'm
right.
messing
Oh,
with
that's
you.
rough.
You look pretty too.
I just want to spend some time with MJ. I think she really likes me, dude.
That reminds me when I first fell in love. I had just finished my film called.
Yeah, boy.
So nice to finally meet you, Spider-Man.
You're Nick Fury.
Put some clothes on. Let's go for a ride.
Is he gonna be okay like that?
Might want to turn him over so he doesn't swallow his tongue.
Jeez.
Nick Fury just hijacked.
You know, Nick
her
Fury
summer
knows
vacation.
because he likes to party a lot, so he knows.
Awesome.
He's like, I've been in that phase when I was drunk.
You got gifts, Parker, but you have a job to do. Are you going to step up or not? You're all alone. Your friends are in trouble. What are you going to do about it?
You don't want any part of this.
I can see that. Yeah.
Who is that guy?
He's like Iron Man and Thor rolled into one.
He's no Spider-Man.
What is it with you and Spider-Man?
What, he looks out for the neighborhood, has a dope suit, and I really respect him. Sup, dickwad?
Oh, the irony.
I know. That's the beauty of Spider-Man, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, Far Away From Home. Good. Looks like it's gonna be a good
It
one.
does look good.
I like what's his name? Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that'll be sweet.
Um,
I really did. I wish. Oh my gosh, what is his name? Emma Stone, and he dated her for a really long time. Was the previous Spider-Man? What was his name?
not Toby, right?
No, not Toby.
Andrew.
Andrew Garfield. Yes,
Yeah.
I really liked the way that he did Spider-Man.
What?
I did.
What?
Mm-hmm.
This interview's over.
What? Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh!
kidding.
No,
No,
he did. He was like awkward and geeky, but hilarious.
Toby was awkward and geeky.
Too much. There was a good balance with Andrew.
No, Andrew looked like he was like, "Hey, I'm pretty boy. I look like I should be prom king." He looked way too good.
He looked too good.
He looked way too good.
I don't think so. He was
Okay.
awkward. And he was...
So this is what they fucked up on. I feel this is me. Go ahead and go in the comment sections. Tell me I'm a douche. But the first one, they made him look really geeky. Too geeky that it didn't work for the first movie for Toby.
Oh, for Toby. Oh, got it.
He
got
was
it.
too
Yeah,
geeky.
I will agree.
He was too geeky. It was not cool. Where was the whole aspect of being the outstanding superhero guy? He was kind of too geeky. Andrew, on the other hand, was way too superhero. He was way too, I'm the good guy. I am already this persona of like, larger than life with a nice jawline. So I feel like they overhyped the two in the opposite way.
So do you think he's a good balance then?
He is a good balance.
Okay.
The way he's acting is a good balance. Just the actor in general, he's an asshole. Have you ever heard of any stories from him?
No.
He's really bad. He can't even keep secrets.
Oh, okay. I've heard of the spoiling, but that.
Oh, and I guess supposedly Falcon. I don't know the actor's name, but
I know who you're talking about.
him
Yep.
and I think it was Thor. They were both talking off camera, or they were just talking about the interview and stuff, and they were talking about how not annoying, but how like prissy and like a little bitch he is.
Oh man.
Because he's always like, "Where's my water? Hey, makeup is in here on time." He's that kind of guy. So I don't know. They could just be busting his balls because they're like bigger guys, and they just like, or maybe he just got famous really young and he just is enjoying it from being young. Like,
yeah.
you know.
I mean, that could be it too.
Because I mean,
that's unfortunate.
I feel, here's my scenario. if I were ever to become famous, the fact that I'm this age now wouldn't blow my mind. You know, I can actually handle it in an actual kind of way.
Right.
Where if it would happen when I was like 20 or 19, I would have been like, yeah, let me just go buy a Lambo and do all kinds of dumb shit. So I don't know how that works.
Same thing. I would have been the Jay Leno of motorcycles. It would have been great.
A bunch, just bunch of cars. Yeah, he has a bunch of cars, right?
He does have a bunch of cars.
I heard he has like a warehouse full of like.
I want a carousel like his someday. So you could just cycle through. Oh,
you don't think there's too much cars? You don't think too much cars are too much cars?
I mean, yes, but no. I would do it anyways.
Because here's the example. If robot cars and people start driving themselves, what is the need for people owning a car?
There is no need, but imagine how open the road is now, because no one drives themselves anymore. So you could probably enjoy driving a lot more than you do now. Right?
I see that. Okay. I see that. I can see that because you're just like, you know, I don't need to drive to work today because, you know, the robot usually drives me. So today I want to drive myself. Do you think there'll be actually places designated for like, this is the robot driving lane?
I hope so, because I don't think that I could just straight cold turkey driving. Like I have to have a manual because I just enjoy driving in general.
That's dying out too.
I know, it's so hard. And I kept like saying I'm going to stick to my guns even though I need a new car. Like I don't want to buy another one unless it's
buy
a
one
manual,
with like a paddle shift or something.
It's not,
it's kind of the same.
It's not the same.
You're just an American and you're just like, I need to have that muscle in the front of me.
I gotta get my workout somehow.
I mean, I get it. You like the whole grinding of the gear. Well, you don't grind gears, but no. I'm just saying the whole movement of the gears, like being able to know that it's like.
Yes, and you can tell when something's wrong with your car. Like it's really cool.
You like the feeling of it.
I do.
That's cool. Yeah. I like driving manual too. It's fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't see a need for it.
No.
It's just wasting gas and then.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I guess nowadays with how efficient automatic cars are, it used to be more fuel efficient to have a manual than anything. I mean, I have to drive to Rio Rancho for work now, and I spent $16 on gas when I had to fill up, and it gets me 600 miles. I get about 44 miles to the gallon because I get to coast everywhere.
But it'd be easier if it was a robot.
Yes. Okay. Just skip the whole robot part. Let's come up with teleportation. Like, talk about how much more efficient your life would be if you'd be like, oh, see, like I was running late today. If I could have just opened up like a little device in my pocket and just walked right in here, it would have been so much easier.
I think that's a little more sketchy though, because wouldn't like, oh man, the whole thing of like having to like break apart our particles and then put them back together.
Like Wonka TV.
That's so crazy. Like, I remember on a Simpsons episode where like Bart is a Treehouse of Horror where Bart finds, or they get these like transporters or whatever, these two like you can move from one side of the house to the other inside of these little pods or whatever, and Homer ends up putting one next to the refrigerator, so like he just sits at the he just goes like that and he can grab one.
Goals.
But Bart ends up getting inside of one with an animal, and then it totally alters his genetics, and then he ends up coming out like a fly person. Well, two people come out, the fly person with Bart's body and the Bart's head on the little fly.
Oh gosh.
So like, how would that work? I'm not saying you're a scientist and you're going to be able to explain the whole tell me how particles are reformed inside of a nano.
Fair point though. Like if there's a small speck of something that goes in with you, are you permanently damaged?
Isn't
like,
that
what if it gets put in your brain?
Like right now, isn't there a bunch of specks of something flying around us right now?
Yes.
Like, well, this is my scenario. It's like you literally
the panic sets in. You can see.
You have to go into a room fully nude, get hosed down, and then air sucked dry. While this air sucked dry suction is going on, you have to be able to transfer into the next one, and then you can transport yourself into another little location. But you have to totally cleanse yourself before that can be done. You wouldn't be able just to be like...
They do say life is better naked, so I mean, it could be a win-win.
Who knows if on the other side... I mean, obviously, hopefully they have protective barriers so you can actually have like a little coat. It's not like...
Right.
In the middle of Times Square, people are just transporting there naked. It's like, what's going on? Maybe it'd be a custom, though. It would be a custom because it's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be.
Like South Park made a funny joke about transportation. Have you ever seen this one where they like Mr. Garrison makes a gyration machine, and like the only way you can really drive it is if you have like two handles in the front and it looks like you're kind of like kind of jacking them off, and then you have to insert something in your anus. But doing this gives you Mach speed.
Huh.
Would you do it?
Yeah.
Everybody did.
Yeah. Yes.
It makes you reimagine what is comfortable now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to think about too, because like
where's your line?
Yeah, exactly. Like especially like starting out dating and stuff, like you want to impress a girl, but then you're just like,
hold on, let me get this thing into Mach speed.
Kid, what do you like to do?
Could you imagine being in that situation? Like, what are you doing? This is the weirdest date I've ever been in.
I feel like that is though. That's like how it is. Is like you don't really know.
I don't know. I'm not accustomed to this new dating scene.
That's right. That's true. And I don't want to do. Unfortunately I am single, but I'm not looking on the whole dating app thing. It's not my kind. Maybe I'm just old fashioned, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't see the benefits of it at all. I don't find any interaction with somebody. Maybe I do swipe right and get a like or whatever. We do end up going out to go get drinks or something. It doesn't have the same effect as like meeting them firsthand by like interaction. Like I'm so nervous to go talk to her. I'm so nervous to say hi.
Yes.
At this point, I already have that broken confidence because she swiped right, which is kind of shitty because she probably swiped right by accident or something.
Oh, please.
I know it's a joke, but in itself, that happens a lot more than it should. Where the whole aspect of the being nervous and
but
being,
don't you think that's part of it?
Yeah, that's
that
what I'm saying.
That like energy, and when it does, like, can you like Panic at the Disco's coming up? Are you going?
Probably not.
No,
I'm not a big fan of them.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
That
no,
sounds
cool.
like
Whatever.
that
Move
sounds
on.
like a
Anyways,
great concert.
Moving on. But how cool would it be if you just like came up into a concert and you got distracted because you could tell how much this girl or guy was enjoying whatever they were seeing, and you were just captivated by that and their energy and their experience, and that's a moment that you guys got to share, and then you asked her out. It's like, instead of, hey, yeah, I met her on Tinder and she liked my ab picture.
Yeah, right.
You know?
I'm holding a picture with my dog.
Yeah,
She's totally
like, look
into
at
that.
the floofy. Yeah, there was an actual genuine moment connection that you guys had.
I think it is that first anticipation, you know, of dropping, you know, oh man, I don't know if it will work or not. That really does initiate the connection better than it would how people do it now.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is weird. It's just weird. Like people do online dating now where they're just like, I maybe it's a good thing though. Some people,
maybe.
I've seen some of those things where it's like, I've never met my husband, but I'm married to him, and he's all the way in Alaska, and
they're so heartwarming, and they only get to see each other like once every 6 months, and it's like, I don't know. I don't think I'm equipped to handle something like that. I'm very much a in the now person.
But you feel there are people that can do that.
There are people that can.
That are really strong-willed, that know what, you know.
And it requires having a lot of confidence in yourself and confidence in the other person. And trust is what it comes down to. Trust, communication. Sorry, that's
a tongue twister. Thank you for our guest. Our guest is letting us know what it's like to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
No.
So we don't go to a date and tell them that they are fine, right? We don't go there and be like, you're hot. You hot as hell, girl.
It was effective for me. I don't know. That's what I used to do. Like, I used to just walk up to people like, hey, how are you today? Like just strike. And I guess, I don't know, some people could have been put off by it, but it was pretty effective.
It's weird how they consider that now, or even certain situations of looking at somebody, a microaggression.
Yes.
Like right now.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. I could be attracted to somebody and give them the look like I'm just like, and all of a sudden, that's it.
How dare you?
They're calling the cops. Me? They're even calling the cops on me. How scared is that? I mean, that happens a lot. That actually happened at my job.
Really?
Yes. I have a coworker that said she was feeling uncomfortable because one of the other coworkers was looking at her. Where do you find that definition, like that fine line of you're creeped out because he's looking at you? I'm pretty sure he has to look at a lot of people at our job.
Right. And I also feel like, you know, those moments when you space out and you're just literally staring into the universe, and you happen to do it in a restaurant, all of a sudden you're just like making eye contact with somebody from across the room.
And you're not
like,
even really intentionally doing it.
Yeah. Is it that kind of thing too? Where you would, that's just pathetic. Honestly, like it's too much.
That's what our culture's turned into though.
That's annoying.
How do you feel that, okay, this is just in the microaggression / transgender aspect. Did you see the video of GameStop, of the transgender that went crazy at GameStop?
I did.
How do you feel about that?
I did. I feel like it could have been handled a lot better on her part because I don't know. And being that I'm not part of that community, I'm sure that I gets really old really quick having to defend yourself and who you are and who you believe yourself to be all the time, every day, in every instance. But I also feel like you could do a lot of things to prevent those types of situations because working in customer service, you have to go on what you see visually, right?
Yeah.
And your goal is to be respectful, courteous, all that kind of fun stuff. And you could hear the employee apologizing, but you know once you're like worked up and you know you've made a mistake, you're likely to do that same thing or say that same thing just because you're thinking about it so hard now.
Okay, so
you know,
it's just
so
like a
I don't
snowball
think it was
effect.
intentional, but it's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, sir. Like, like I did it again, and you don't realize it, and yeah. So I feel like you could avoid that by introducing yourself first. Like, nice to meet you. I'm Brandon. How's your day going? Like, if you just set yourself up that way, like this is what I want to be called, this is how I want to be identified, then everybody is on the same plane.
Because this is kind of a perspective kind of thing too, right?
It is.
Because we only saw a certain amount of the video. It's not like we saw the first interactions with him walking into the store.
Right.
The looks he might have gotten, she has gotten. See, that's how
there
bad
it
that
is.
is.
Yeah,
and it's not an intentional thing. I feel bad, but unfortunately, the person visually, when I was growing up, looks like a male. So when I look at it, I see it in that aspect. If I'm categorizing it in a different way or I don't know the exact term, that's me learning. But the fact, the negativity that was brought forth, and then maybe
the hard part is I feel like a lot of times now. Okay, so look at a kid. Kids are great examples of this because they will point things out that you weren't even aware of. They'll ask questions. They'll ask questions. They have no problem asking questions.
Okay, so that being said, I love how you brought up the kids, but there are schools in New York and in other states now that are actually bringing in a gender neutral bathroom.
Okay.
At the elementary level. How do you feel about that?
Well, whenever they say that, they turn into like single use bathrooms.
It's supposed to be that way.
Right.
It's supposed to be kind of like the toilet and the sink.
Right. So it's a single-use bathroom. I mean, that's what we have at work, and just because we've got a sign that says restroom instead of men's, like, you do your thing. But, I mean, it's private. Like, it's one door, one toilet, one sink, that kind of thing. So I don't feel like that's a big deal. Those are everywhere.
Do those, does that make you even more, I don't want to say it's, like, disheartening, but then what if it turns into an actual bathroom to accommodate to more than one gender-neutral person?
You know, I feel like it would have to be an adjustment just based on, like, my own insecurities and reservations, but that's something that I have to deal with, you know?
Because, I mean,
that's not something that I can put on, like, at the end of the day, if I have to use the bathroom, I'm going to use the bathroom. I wind up using the men's restroom when I'm on road trips anyways, just because I hate the line. The line is awful.
Sometimes it does just happen to be, I have to use the other bathroom because it's there.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not waiting in this 15-minute long line at the only gas station between here and Timbuktu, you know? And there has been times where, you know, dude walks in too, and I'm like, sorry, I'll be done in a second. But, I mean, they usually always have stalls too, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, see,
It's like the same setup. And if you have partitions or dividers where you've got, you know, some sense of privacy or security, then who really wants to do anything in a bathroom?
See, I guess that's what it should be more associated to. Like, they should be teaching kids more about the privacy aspect of using the bathroom instead of it being more, I don't know exactly how they're teaching it to them, but if it is more about the privacy and being able to be comfortable with whatever gender you want to be, I'm all for it. But if it's the fact that they're just shoving kids in there where it's just like, no matter what gender you want to be, you can use this bathroom and make other people uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're on display, that would make anybody uncomfortable if you're on display like that. No. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, just my opinion on it because I've never had to use them before, but I feel like in men's restrooms with just the urinals lined out, don't you kind of feel like on display?
Yeah,
and uncomfortable, right? Like, that's same concept. You're just blending genders.
And if it's gender neutral, but a woman feels like they want to be a man, so they go into the man's bathroom, does that still feel wrong? It shouldn't feel wrong.
I honestly don't care what other people do. I don't need to know. I mean, I guess it's what it comes down to. I don't really have a strong opinion on this because it's just like people that feel like they have to come out I feel bad that there's a need to do that. Like, I didn't walk up to my parents and say, by the way, I'm straight. And I feel really bad that that conversation has to even happen for people that decide to come out. And whether they want to, like, why do you have to publicize what makes you happy in your private life? No one needs to know. No one needs to know. So, I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think more as a privacy thing. If they're teaching kids more about privacy, but still wanting them to know about the gender neutral aspect of life, I get it. I totally get it. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, all for privacy, and just, I don't know, that's bringing kids up young, teaching consent, permission, privacy, things like that I feel like have kind of gone out the window.
Okay, so taking this to more of a college level now, how do you feel about them having microaggression towards teachers for teaching curriculums that are like straight out of science books? So if a biology teacher is mentioning the exact chromosomes of what is inside of a male and a female, and has some kind of witty banter with it as well, which has always been part of his curriculum, now it's become a microaggression where a transgender or somebody is now offended by it. What I'm getting at is that
that's like a deep level of things. Like, you've got to be almost waiting for somebody to make, I don't want to say a mistake, but
you have to say that because that's what's happening right now. Unfortunately, there are a bunch of college professors right now that are being either put on the pedestal of being, like, racist, against genders, so many different categories, all because of the curriculum that they teach, which is science fact.
Right.
And it's just a microaggression to these people because they feel like, again, I honestly understand if you want to be a female, but if you don't let a science teacher explain to you how the reproductive organs of a male and a female work, then you're just dumbing down society.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also feel like, and maybe that's just me, if I full-heartedly believed that I was a male, something like that wouldn't piss me off, because I'd be like, okay, well, I just happen to be born with the wrong chromosomes, but I am still, okay, great. It's still what it is.
That's
I feel
weird.
like you wouldn't have to take it so damn personally.
So they have been. That's what's scary. And that's what's sad, because there have been very, very highly intelligent professors like Eric Weinstein. He's one of them. Ben Weinstein, who they've been talking about, where they just like an amazing university where it's just like, I think it was called Evergreen University.
Okay.
Where it's just like an interactive learning where they actually give the teacher like not a real curriculum. They're like, make sure your kids know this and you could teach it however you want.
Huh.
And they did a great job at it. But then it started turning into this thing where, microaggression started coming up. They're like, why isn't the curriculum taught how it's taught in this other state with this kind of curriculum? Because, I mean, I don't want to be a douchebag, but the teachers at C&M would probably teach the curriculums different than what teachers at UNM do, just by pay difference, just by the way they're paid different.
I could see that.
They won't. Maybe they'll present it to them with the exact information.
It's not consistent.
Yeah, you can be like, one's more interactive with another, the other one's less interactive. Some are only giving certain biased opinions where they're just like, this is true, but I don't think that it's fact. Because the cool thing about college, when I remember, is that you're supposed to question everything.
Yeah, that's like the fun part of learning is figuring out the why and how things work and why they work the way they do. And does it always have to be that way? Like, one of my favorite things to, I guess, debate. Do you find war necessary?
Do I find war necessary?
Yes.
I don't want to say I want your definition of war, but what is war? Neighboring tribes at war? Or am I talking about like dogs going at it because they're trying to get better territory?
I mean, you could be very broad like that, but we'll just keep it just U.S. going to war.
Okay, I don't feel the need for war.
Okay.
In some aspects.
In some aspects.
Because if we don't show, I mean, this is just me, but there are some points of dominance where that's why people think we are a really powerful nation, is because of how much we are dominant everywhere else.
That's a keyword right there. What is power?
Power?
Yeah, what is it? Is it tangible?
I don't know.
Is it money?
What is
power?
Power to me is I guess not a visual thing, but more like a kind of like this, I don't know, unspoken acknowledgement of something that you can do better than someone else.
Do you think someone always has to be the powerful one in a situation? Like in this room right now, is there one of us that's more
Hell
powerful?
yeah. Do you even need me to answer that question?
Yes.
Unfortunately, in this situation, I don't. Because obviously, when me and you are talking, you have different points that I would know nothing about. So I don't want to be this overpowering person to be like,
Right.
no, you can't. You're not talking correctly. Which would...
Is that not the same thing, though? The U.S. has a different point of view than, say, China.
Okay. Well, that's
So
scary.
it's just like us
we got to
talking
stop
in a room.
China.
Sorry. Well, okay.
China
Anyway.
needs to be killed. China's crazy. They're going to take over the world.
No, that's Amazon or Google.
Okay. But still. I see what you're saying, though. In aspects of like even little terrain wars, like us going to the Middle East and stuff.
Yeah.
That's... I don't want to say it's not necessary, but it's not. I mean, we don't need to do that.
Yeah, I could never understand, and I used to question this a lot, and like teachers would always get really frustrated with me, and all they kept coming back to is it's to regain power. And I was like, well, what is it? Because no one just has this stockpile of power, whatever this power is, anywhere, because it's transferable. Like the president has the power, right?
Yeah.
As far as we know, or is it Congress, or that kind of stuff? Like, what is it? Who has it? And how do you determine who has more of it? Right?
Yeah, that's true. Because obviously you can't really let the president get away with stuff. That's why there's Congress.
Right.
But then they say like, well, the president makes the last decision. Like.
Right. But then when it gets down to it, like when you go to war, why over this power thing that you can't even? It's not a tangible thing that you can grasp. Why do thousands of people have to die for it? To achieve what?
Power.
Right. Oh, blows my mind. But there was like one thing that we used to talk about all the time, and there's no real good answer because no one really knows.
Well, like
war,
exactly
what are we fighting for?
Yeah, war is a touchy subject because you can go back to even like primitive tribes. Like, was it really necessary? Like, I don't know. Like, how far back are we going that we were all one person? Like, did that ever occur?
I don't think so. I really don't. And is it just human nature to always fight like that? But then why?
I don't know. No, I mean...
Does that come back to that dominance thing? But how did we wind up creating this, like, I don't know, massive community where people are able to side with each other and have these different packs and stuff like that? I don't know, just kind of fascinating.
Well, the pack thing is explained more by like animal culture, right? So like obviously like a group of wolves will be hanging out. They're just like dominating their area. That's kind of where we get that, right?
It's like, limited resources and stuff like that. But I feel like
we're just pretty much...
Why not work together and then everybody gets to share it instead of fighting over the stupid thing?
What's an example of let's share?
Okay. A buffalo has died.
Okay.
And Pack A of wolves wants buffalo. Pack B of wolves wants and needs buffalo as well. So they go to battle over buffalo. Both sides have some casualties. Now both sides have less wolves to feed. Things like that. Everybody's injured. Everybody's hurt. And still only, instead of just sharing the buffalo, and then everybody's happy.
Okay, so what if it got to the point where like if everybody shared the buffalo, nobody was fed correctly, so they have to go get another buffalo, but they can't because there's no... Buffaloes are pretty like scarce. So they fight for it because of scarcity.
Yeah.
I mean, all I'm trying to rearrange this whole thing is just like, I feel like we're just the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
And the whole war aspect, the whole clanning of tribes, the whole getting together is just us doing it in a more advanced way.
Yeah.
In a really advanced way where it's just like, there's no... I guess it's not to say we cannot do it, but it's pretty much inevitable in our biome.
Yeah. It just... I don't know. It trips me up a little bit because there's not like a solid reason why we do it, and it's just something that's accepted. It's what we do. Like, just maybe someday, walking around naked so you can transport places will be accepted. We just, kill other people for this power thing, and I can't wrap my brain around it.
I'm wrapped around the whole concept where you feel that everybody can get along.
Well, that's It sounds so idealistic, but I mean, it's just compromising in a sense. Like you totally understand that I have different opinions than you do.
Yeah.
But I would consider us friends.
Yeah, we listened to each other's
Yeah.
opinions. Some stuff was Panic at the Disco and stuff.
Yeah,
but I mean, I
like,
listened
threw
to
up
it.
in your mouth a little bit, which is fine.
I
understand.
listened, but I get what you're saying though.
Mhm.
Is that we have this way of being able to comprehend what we said and still be able to like mutually agree with each other in a way. But this is going back to our beginning topic of the left and the right.
Yes. There's got to be middle ground, and there's got to be collaboration. You know, because that's how stuff like those water bottle algae things were made. Is because
They're
someone
not going to get
recognized
passed.
I know.
Nobody wants those.
But it's like there's a problem that was discovered. Both sides have an issue with this thing. Both sides have an opinion as to how to make it better, but instead of listening to each other and trying to get there, everyone just remains divided instead of actually listening, and we could probably achieve something a little greater, don't you think?
Yeah, obviously.
Better than what it is right now.
But see, that's what's crazy is like, again, how far into history do we have to go that we were all one person? Were we ever one person? Because if we were never one person, like, you know, like the same, there was always a difference between us, then there has to have been some kind of dislike between us because of that difference.
Yeah, I've got a video that I'll have to show you. It's like a long 30-minute thing, but it's...
That's long?
It's...
We're watching 4-hour document. We're almost on a 2-hour stream right now.
Oh geez, has it been? Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's a 30-minute thing that talks about like what could have been before, you know, if it was all like before the continent split and everything like that, what it could have been, and what people or what were considered people back then could have been. It's pretty interesting, and it's presented really.
Because I don't want to say you're like super religious, are you?
No, but that's back to me just not being able to comprehend things that I don't have proof of.
That's true.
Like,
But I mean, the story beginning with the Adam and Eve story, I mean, that whole thing in its concept kind of lets us know why we're assholes and stuff. But I mean,
I feel like there could be that's a fun. Anyways, hold one thing at a time. It's just like the power thing. It's not tangible and you can't really describe it. Like, I feel the same way about religion. And I feel like there's a large following of it, but I just don't understand why. Like, the same thing. I don't understand why war has to be a thing. It just is widely accepted, and I can't buy in. For whatever reason, I cannot buy in, even though I've tried. Like, I was brought up Catholic, tried Christianity for a while there, researched a lot of, like, Buddhism, Judaism, like, that kind of stuff. And they're all so similar, but I never found anything that like rocked me to my core and was like, oh, yep, this is it. I believe in this full-heartedly. Like, let's give everything, like all my power away to
the higher power.
This thing.
Yeah.
And if you want to argue it in a certain way, because people will say, you know, like, oh, well, if you don't believe in it, you know, you're destined to go to hell. You know, that's just where I'm destined to be, I guess. But don't you think if we're all created in his image or whatever, the fact that I think the way I do was part of his plan, which blows my mind too, and it irritates me because even though I don't believe it, it could be potential that I was created that way just to ask these questions.
Yeah, because
to like balk at the norm and like maybe,
that's a good concept, and I love that it's an open mind thing for you. It's not just like, I don't believe in religion. You're more like, you know, it's not that I don't believe in religion, I just don't know.
Yeah, I just don't I can't buy in.
There's so much things that are out there inside of religion in itself that contradict itself that it's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's like left versus right.
Inside of religion, yeah. I don't even know within the whole Christian, Catholic, Judaism, what else? Catholicism. I'm pretty sure I'm just naming the same thing over again. But like, how does it get so much into a subgenre of itself? Like it's, oh my God, it turns into like the Jehovah's, the Mormons, the Latter-day, the Latter-day Saints. I mean,
there's so much.
How does that
branched off in so many different ways? I don't know. It almost seems
I
like
love
an
how
accepted cult.
Yeah, I love how you have this concept of coming together, but look at how far we've all divided inside of ourselves. It's so scary.
Like I said, it's idealistic that we could all, you know, skip through the roses and get along and work out our problems. But I mean, shoot, me and my family can't even do that, so it's a little I don't know, far-fetched to think that billions of people in the world could do the same.
It's funny to think about it too, but there probably is a really, really big amount of people that think like you. They have the same kind of aspect of like, you know, I just don't know. Same beliefs about religion, the same beliefs, but they're just so spread out that we will never be able to meet them. And there's so much of a big span of people out there in the world that like, they're literally like specks of dust. Like, unfortunately, there are probably hundreds and thousands of them out there, but we'll never be able to. We're trying, obviously, with the stream. But is there anybody out there? But yeah, I mean, just those little things. And that's why I love having you on the show, because we get ideas and thoughts from a totally different perspective. I mean, we could disagree on certain things. We could agree on it. We could have laughs about them. But the fact that it's being put out there for other people to hear might have that potential of reaching that one in the millionth person where they're just like, I totally agree with that.
The same way.
I know what they're saying. Whatever, half of the shit they said is stupid, but that last part was good.
One line was okay.
And that's cool to think about. I mean, shout out to you guys if you guys are watching. I really appreciate this, because just having conversations with anybody really opens up more doors for knowing the world.
Absolutely.
Because I mean,
You can't do that from an app. Sorry.
You can in a very shitty way. You can in a very shitty way. I can interact with everybody on my Facebook timeline, but do they really know what I'm talking about? Do they feel how I'm talking? Right. I could be really sarcastic, and they could be like, oh, "He's super serious. I better not talk to him." So, it all just perspective of how it's taken.
It's all perception. All perception.
But I do want to thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It was awesome. I had a great time. We need to have you on again.
Yes.
We'll have a few more guests under our belt, and I'll call you back.
Sounds good.
Because there's always something new to talk about. We'll always think of new stuff. We didn't even talk about like gentrification. We didn't talk about AI more.
Yes.
We didn't talk about space.
You
Space
avoided
Force.
Kingdom Hearts on purpose. I noticed. Don't worry.
See? She did it. There you go. All right, man. Cue us out, because I don't know nothing about what she just said, and I don't want to seem like a loser. Thank you again for coming. Super awesome. I got to cue everything on this end. Make sure to follow, subscribe, go check us out on Twitch, all that good stuff. Peace out.
You changed your intro. I like it.
There's a bunch of different stuff now.